This evening, we're going to talk about what is right and what is wrong. The concept of right and wrong. What does that even mean? Now, a human being is born as a blank canvas. As a baby, we are complete and utter blank canvases. Then the experiences in our lives are what program us into what beliefs we hold. What beliefs we hold about ourselves and regarding everything else in life. Now, the environment that we're brought up in is what molds us into who we are. It molds us into the type of person that we become. Now, this doesn't mean that every human will end up exactly the same based on the environment. For example, two brothers could be brought up to see their dad having a drinking problem. And for one brother, he might grow up, develop a drinking problem himself, as he has seen that behavior as normal from his dad. But for the other brother, seeing his dad having a drinking problem has led him down a path of never drinking alcohol because he's seen how that affects him, how that affects the family. Even though both brothers have gone down very different paths, it was still the same environment that molded them into the person that they are. Now, our experiences are what make us who we are. Now that we've been brought up, we get brought up in a social control, good behavior reward, bad behavior punishment, parenting style technique. This is what happens to everyone in society. If you, as my child, behave the way that I subjectively believe you should behave, then I will give you the thing that you rely on for survival, which is acceptance, connection, and love. But if you don't behave the way that I subjectively believe you should behave, then I will punish you by taking away the things that you rely on for survival, which is acceptance, connection, and love. And by doing that, I am controlling the way that you behave. I am making sure that you behave the way that I believe you should behave. This is how I control a child, or better yet, this is how I control a human being. And the moment that we are punished for not behaving the way that our caregiver subjectively believes we should behave, we are told that we are behaving wrong, that we feel wrong, and that we're doing wrong. Every time I do something wrong, it's very unsafe for me because the thing that I rely on for survival, connection, love, relationships, are taken away from me. But what is wrong? Who decides what's right or wrong? Well, as a child, my caregivers do. And I learn what is right and wrong based on what they say to me, as well as how I'm treated based on what I do, based on what they subjectively believe is right or wrong. Now, some caregivers aren't as strict as others. So some people don't think some things are wrong, even though others absolutely believe that it's wrong. For example, some caregivers will allow their child to use certain words that others will not. But again, this is subjective. So if it's subjective, then who's right and who's wrong? Well, we could say maybe the words that have been used could cause harm to someone else. Then that's wrong because it's causing harm. But those same words could be used in other situations with other people that didn't cause harm. So again, it's subjective based on the situation. So does that mean it's wrong? Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say that someone goes on a trip for a weekend and the trip costs a decent amount of money. And let's say that that trip has taken that person to zero in terms of finances. Someone could understandably look at this and see that as wrong. But let's say on this trip, this person meets someone on the plane and ends up exchanging details. They become friends. And after 5 years, after meeting each other on the plane, they start a business together, which takes off big time. Now they're both millionaires. And the only way this business works is with both of their unique skill sets. So one wouldn't make a success without the other. Otherwise, the business just wouldn't work. Now, we can look at the situation of going on the trip and understandably look at it and say, well, it was right. It wasn't wrong, it was right. There are cultures in the world that get their loved ones from their grave, clothe them up, and take pictures with them. They do this once a year on their birthdays. Is that right or wrong? To that culture, it's right. To other cultures, it's very, very wrong. But who's right and who's wrong? No one is right and no one is wrong. Okay, let's go slightly deeper. It's wrong to kill someone. It goes against the species survival instinct, so it's wrong. And yet, there are places in the world that have laws that say you will get the death penalty for killing someone. So you're being punished for killing someone by being killed. And a lot of people agree with that. So is killing right or wrong? Who's wrong? Who's right? No one's wrong and no one's right. What does this mean? It means that everything that is deemed to be wrong and everything that is deemed to be right in terms of how you should be is subjective based on someone's opinion of the situation. I'm going to say that again. It means that everything that is deemed to be wrong and everything that is deemed to be right in terms of how you should be is subjective based on someone's opinion of the situation, which means there is no wrong or right, which means you get to decide what's right and what's wrong for you. Because we've been brought up throughout our childhood being programmed based on the experiences that we've had. Being wrong is very unsafe. I've learned that if I do something wrong, then I get rejected. I get pushed away. I get punished. It's my fault that I am unsafe, because that's what I've always been told. And now as an adult, I still have the unconscious belief that I'm doing wrong. I've learned that mistakes are wrong and wrong is unsafe. So every time I make a mistake, I am unsafe, because wrong is very, very unsafe for me. Even on my healing journey, if I listen to someone and I learn that I've been doing something I shouldn't be doing, then I've been doing something wrong, and I beat myself up because I know it's unsafe to be wrong. I beat myself up because I've learned that every time I'm wrong, I deserve to be punished. Because every time I was wrong, I got punished. So now I punish myself for getting something wrong, no matter what that is. The only reason I feel unsafe for getting something wrong is because I have been programmed to feel like that. But now I understand that I can start choosing what is right and what is wrong. Yes, there are consequences to any decisions that I make. Whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence, there are consequences to every single decision that we make. Something I do may end a relationship that I don't want to end. It's a consequence. And that's normal in the reality that I live in. Maybe at the moment where the relationship ends, I see that as wrong. But then, because it ended, it led me to finding someone that I'm much more compatible with and much more happier with. So, was it actually wrong or not? Maybe in the moment it was wrong, but afterwards I don't see it as wrong anymore. So is it wrong? Was it wrong? What does wrong mean? I get to choose if what I'm doing is right or wrong. Otherwise, I'm living based on other people's subjective opinions of how I should live my life.